And if we go
That's a
like
good angle.
this, well, yeah, but no. See, I always feel weird because I always feel like I'm talking to you all the time.
Well, we're
So we
live,
want to do.
so you're feeling yeah. There you go. Caught you off guard.
Yeah, we are live. I'm gonna play it in here. It is a early morning podcast, which is a change of pace. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care much for it at all because I don't like the mornings. But I do have a plate of bacon.
Mm-hmm.
Which while I was cooking this bacon, I was wondering to myself, um, when you go to restaurants like Irish pubs and stuff like that, they always say a rasher of bacon.
Mm-hmm.
What is a rasher? Is that an amount, or is that
Rasher.
a rasher? I'm looking this up.
Rasher of bacon. I don't know. I've never actually heard that.
First thing, rasher of bacon.
Rasher.
Thin slice of bacon or
Okay.
ham for frying, or so technically all bacon is just a rasher
Unless
because
you
it's
like
always
that.
thinly sliced.
You get the really thick cuts of bacon sometimes.
I still think that counts as a rasher.
You think that's a rasher?
I
I don't
believe
know.
so.
Would you call this a rasher? I'm having pieces, by the way.
I would call this God's gift to the world,
Mm-hmm.
and also the main reason why I don't believe in Catholicism or any other religion that bans eating meat at any time, because that's ridiculous.
I wouldn't be able to get behind that. I just can't do it.
Well, no, when you're Catholic, they get behind you.
Yeah, but I'm not if I'm over the age of like 13, so
Yeah,
I'm safe now.
either way.
I'd be safe.
So,
We're off to a great start this
we
week.
are a couple shout outs. I did a bit of a campaigning to get some more viewers. Duddy Bear, the old Duddy Bear.
Old Duddy Bear. I was just texting him this morning.
He is now a subscriber. Also check out Duddy's boards. I'll be hitting him up soon to get some boards here. My cousin Isaiah, I know, subscribed. Other people may have subscribed.
I heard a lot of people were talking about it. They were asking me about it, and I felt for some reason, very caught off guard because I wasn't expecting you to be. I should have expected it. I should have expected it.
Yeah.
Because
But yeah,
you have no shame compared to me.
no,
You don't get embarrassed like I do. I get embarrassed.
no.
Very
I was
easily.
the only upsetting thing was that whenever right after our last live, pretty much right around the time we were talking about eating ass, I was getting these snaps from my sister and sister-in-law. Our podcast was cast on my parents' TV. It's like, God damn it. The only two people I weren't going to tell about having a podcast now know.
Yeah.
So,
And
it's out there.
your father and I already have an intense rivalry. So
That's true.
I'm pretty sure you were mostly the one talking about eating ass because that is very hot. That is a very hot topic in your brain.
It is. It's important.
Aaron was very
It's important people
very
know.
against not against I should say, but he was taken aback by how much you wanted to make that a main topic of focus on the podcast.
I feel like people should know. That's why.
I'm
It's
like
very important.
I expect this from you from now. So I feel like I've known you a long enough time that it's okay to have certain expectations, and I'm not really surprised by it.
You know what it's also time for?
I will symbolically have one of these because
No, you will have one for our viewers and for our sponsorship. And
our
even
sponsorship
though it is
in the works, and our sponsorship in the works.
regardless that it is 10 a.m., we are still much in love with and trying to get sponsored with Yingling, America's finest and oldest brewery.
It is
also a Pennsylvania beer. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people know that, but it's a PA original. So
how many states in again?
I believe it started off the original 13 colonies.
13 colonies, yeah.
And then they just recently expanded out to Texas and a few other ones.
I feel wrong. It feels wrong when I'm not having one in Pennsylvania, though.
It's true.
It feels like I'm happy it's there, but it feels.
You know what's funny? You say that because I feel like whenever I have a Yingling when I'm outside of Pennsylvania, and I see someone else like having Yingling, I want to be like, "Hey, that's from my state." So yeah,
we have a special guest.
We had a special
guest,
like a ghost. But yeah, that's
like a phantom in the ass.
Like a phantom in the ass. You're right, absolutely right. But it is weird because anytime I have the opportunity to be like, someone's eating Heinz ketchup or Hershey bar or drinking a Yingling, be like, hey, you know what? That's me. I feel like you take credit with it.
I feel like if you see someone Well, I've come to realize that a lot more people are from Pittsburgh scattered around the U.S. Than you kind of think.
Yeah.
Because we had this conversation in your truck yesterday when we were on break about how Pittsburgh is it's a major city, but I still feel like it's very like not it's
Uh,
not talked about a whole lot.
it is, but I don't think it gets its chops
Like
like it does
yeah,
Like New York City
or
and stuff like that.
Boston or
Yeah, but
places
yeah,
like that,
Boston.
Chicago. So anytime I hear Pittsburgh mentioned, I think that's just really cool because I feel like it's this major city. It's very significant to the history of the country with with the steel industry and whatnot.
That's actually like what Pittsburgh played
It
a
was
really
the
fucking pivotal
city,
role in the whole industrial era.
the city of champions in the '70s with the Pirates and the Steelers when they were both world champions, and obviously the whole history of the Pens and Pens really rose to prominence. You'd say what '80s or '90s whenever like
Lemieux, yeah.
Lemieux. Okay,
Well, I mean, we had. I mean, we were talked about, but it was never.
yeah.
We were never like a true blue contender until Lemieux showed up. I mean,
Would you
we
say
had
he
we
would you
had
say
some we had some.
he put them kind of on
Oh
the
yeah, for sure,
radar
for
for the
sure.
rest of the league? Okay. But yeah, so anytime I hear Pittsburgh, that's like my favorite line. And I
Yeah, I
know
mean,
I know
Pittsburgh was part of like the original, I believe, six or
less
so.
Johnny Mordell,
Continue.
but I love the line in Next 3 Days that you say they play at the Pens games.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Liam Neeson.
where are you from? Pittsburgh. Oh, Pittsburgh's
Bitch is tough.
that's such a badass. The movie's okay, but like that line is just
Yeah,
so
I know
I take
it's
such pride
great.
in that.
You know what? And fuck you, Duddy Bear. I gave you the shout out, and I shouted out Duddy's board. So you know
Yeah, but
what?
you know what?
Just
You haven't gone to any concerts with Duddy Bear,
I don't go to
so
concerts.
I know.
Let it be known that I
Me
am
and
not
him.
a concert. The older I get, the less interested in social gatherings I get, and I don't know if that's me personally or if that's just getting older thing. But I just the idea to me to go to whatever the big outdoor thing's called now, Star Lake or whatever it is now.
Oh well,
The idea of going to that and being in a crowd of thousands
mhm.
literally makes me wanna puke. The idea of going to the South Side on a weekend makes me
Yeah,
wanna puke.
yes. Um, I am okay when I'm there. It's getting there and leaving
Mm.
that makes me go crazy.
Also, yeah.
When I'm there and I'm like in the middle of it, I'm okay. When I know like same thing with sporting events, Pens games, Stewart games, getting in
See,
there and
that doesn't
leaving.
bother me because, that to me, that like, if I go to a Penguins game,
Yeah,
I've been to a bunch of them, so I know exactly the route I need to take to get there, and where I park, I know it's inconvenient, it's a bad spot, it's only $5 to park there, but I know
that's
where
where
I'm
I parked
going.
at.
Yeah, I know where I'm going, and I know when I leave, I know how to leave from there.
He-
So I have my to and from. Now, if I'm under construction or some shit like
Yeah,
that where I get side turned,
yeah.
nope, I'm gonna
No,
lose my shit.
I will say as far as going into Pittsburgh, getting to a Pens game is relatively painless.
Go
Like
most of the time
this
going in.
Science Center, Pens games, Pirate games, relatively plain. Heinz Field or Acrisure Stadium now, fucking pain in the ass. Parking for that
Is
sucks.
that the same exit you take to go to Stage AE? No, that's PN
Yes,
is are you sure?
Stage A, yeah.
Okay.
It's right up the. I'm pretty sure it's right up the road
And that's
from
the
it.
same PNC Park then too, the baseball field?
It's all like, yeah. I'm really bad
So
at the
that's all
layout
the
of
same
Pittsburgh.
exit?
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, we're terrible with
I
directions.
follow my GPS into Pittsburgh. I do not pay attention to or remember where I'm going because I just want to fucking get there. I'm not trying to remember
Yeah,
anything.
exactly. It's like my wife will say to me like, "Well, you've been there 100 times." Why and I'm like, I follow it blindly and I don't
Yeah.
retain the information of like where I'm going.
Duddy can tell you the one time we went to go see Slipknot, we got there late. We missed 3 bands. It was out at Star Lake.
Oh, I missed Alice Cooper that way one time. I was
It's
pissed.
normally an hour and a half drive. It's not awful, but it's normally an hour and a half drive. It took us 4 hours because there was an accident on 376. So we had to go through Wilkinsburg, then we had to go through like downtown, and people in downtown don't give a fuck.
It's funny.
And the way they had cars going into there, like when they were directing traffic to park, was so fucking terrible. It took us forever. He can tell you, I was like white knuckles shaking,
I
shaking from anger. It was
bet he was white knuckling too for you.
he had to keep me calm somehow. But continue.
It was funny though because whenever I seen Adam Sandler live, Rob Schneider was one of the comedians that was up
Mhm.
on stage, and he was saying "Oh, Pittsburgh, you have such a beautiful city. Maybe one day it'll be it'll be finished." All the construction going on all the time. So I laughed my ass off, which is funny though because he actually, you can tell he put a lot of thought into like an area
Mhm.
specific joke. He actually took time to write like a Pittsburgh specific joke, and I
Mhm.
appreciated that.
Uh, the biggest thing with Pittsburgh is like it looks like they
Well, we have really derailed from what we were supposed to
we
talk
really did.
about.
It's okay. It's okay. Um, yeah, I don't know. Good segue now. Gonna-
Play him off, Johnny.
Originally our plan was we talked about Star
I
Wars.
can segue it into continue.
Okay. No, you go ahead. Do your segue.
Well, you were talking about, we were talking about Pittsburgh for
Yes.
reasons unknown. I don't know how we got onto that, but coming up soon will be a bunch of our favorite cons, um, and also we have our few local haunts that we like to go to in the Pittsburgh area, Murraysville specifically. We like Infinity Comics. We go there, and I was just there yesterday, and I ended up picking up a few that I can show and talk about.
Oh,
But
that's a nice stack.
yeah, it is. Well, this
Oh.
this is these 2 books I
Oh.
had. I just brought them down because they were there.
Okay. Okay.
But
How many are in that series? I'll wait till you talk about it, but
which
that one.
all right. Well, that's gonna be
I'll wait until you talk
it's
about
it's
it.
gonna be a minute
I'll
because
wait until you bring it up.
there was things that are happening with it now. I'm just
I'll let you go through. I'll let you go through the stack, and
well.
I'll.
Well, let me ask you this
Yeah.
first. We'll go through. What was your first experience with comics, and what is your favorite series or run of a comic? And we'll go with publisher.
Publisher.
So all right,
Okay.
well, let's go first with what was your first experience with comics?
My first experience with comics, because I didn't get into comic book collecting until I was a little bit later in life. Like I had
It's the same
some
with me.
some graphic novels throughout my youth, but basically getting into comics, like an actual run, always intimidated me because there's just so much stuff out
Yeah.
there. You've had different series character deaths, and they get rebooted, then they get brought like the New 52, and you have different Marvel characters that have been died and brought. Then you have the multiverse and everything. So it always intimidated me. But my first comic book I ever read was in middle school, and because we had a bunch of graphic novels in the library, I think the first one I ever read was either Batman Hush,
Hmm.
or I want to say they had it was one of I want to say it was probably Watchmen.
Okay.
It was one of those two because we had a lot of graphic novels and comics in our school library, which is kind of cool. So it'd be one of those two. That was my first, and I had some ones when I was little that my parents gave me, like some like I had a couple like Pokemon comic books and stuff like that when I
Yeah,
was
yeah. Why
young.
they wouldn't really count that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was in comic book form, but
So now, what would you say is your favorite? I'll open it up to comic book hero slash villain, favorite series or run, something that kind of ties all those together.
off the top of my head, favorite characters that I will always buy, Ghost Rider, Daredevil, Moon Knight.
That's Derek up on that one too.
Yeah,
Daredevil.
I love Daredevil. It depends. I'm very drawn to covers.
Yeah.
So if I see a cover that looks really cool, I'll go with that. Um, but then when I got older, I got really into more independent series like Garth Ennis's work
Oh
outside
yeah.
outside of Marvel, like
Yeah.
Preacher and stuff like that.
The Boys.
What
Although
I
never
heard,
read them.
I never read them, but I heard the show's actually better than the comic in that
That's what
regard.
everyone tells me. That
But
it's
so
kind
yeah,
of a twist.
I've kind of been all over the place. But yeah, I always buy Ghost Rider, Daredevil, who else? Moon Knight. Um,
Oh, we actually have 4 people on there
yeah,
now.
those are always the ones I go
Surprising.
to. Favorite villain, you said?
I say favorite hero and or villain,
Favorite villain
but
is probably going to be Doom.
okay.
I love Doom. I love anything that Doctor Doom appears in. I love oh, what the hell's his name?
See, I kind of feel like an asshole when I say like I'm a comic book reader because I'm very specific with mine. When you're saying like when you're talking about all these other characters and shit like that,
Yeah,
I really don't know much outside of what I do read, which is very limited. So like when everyone's just like, oh yeah, in X-Men, this guy that he was like, I don't fucking know, dude. I don't touch on that stuff at
really
all.
a really underrated. See, I didn't watch all of the Netflix series. Like I didn't watch Jessica Jones and all that, but I did hear he made
And
an
you didn't
appearance.
watch Punisher, did you?
I'm in the middle of it. I didn't finish
You
it.
didn't tell me that.
I didn't finish
Oh
it.
man, that was so
Uh,
great.
a great
John
character.
Bernthal, also tag yourself and become friends with
Become
us
friends with us.
somehow.
Um, the Fool Killer. That's another one I always buy. Fool Killer. He made an appearance, I guess, in the last season of Jessica Jones. The last like few episodes.
Yeah, so you can say stuff
Yeah.
like that, and I don't. You know, I did try watching Jessica Jones, and I just
Yeah. Fool Killer is another one I like buying. He's a very underrated Marvel character. There's just I don't know. See, like I said in a previous episode, I'm very bad when someone asks me to make a list. My mind just kind of goes blank. But those are always
But we knew we would be talking about this.
I can't prepare.
You had
for
a whole
stuff.
week.
I
You
can't
had a whole week.
I can't prepare for stuff. My
You
mind just
you
goes
can. You
blank.
just don't.
I do. Give me some credit. I do a little bit. Eat your bacon.
I'll eat my rashers of bacon.
Shame the Catholic faith.
That's not fair. So.
Shame. That's all. Yeah. Shame the Jewish faith. Eat your pork.
That's true. I can't eat pork. Huh.
But okay, I know what yours are, so I'll let you talk about.
I almost exclusively read Punisher, and my first experience with that was I don't know if anyone could tell is my favorite or not, but my first experience with comic books and actually like reading them and whatnot was the first con we went to, and I was thumbing through
Really?
the
First experience.
so I think it actually may have been with Big Mike. But anyway,
Well, first con you went to?
yeah.
Yeah, that was before we were friends. And
Oh, so
whatnot,
okay,
yeah.
so that was a
Because
Big
you were
Mike
going to
then.
Steel City Con before.
Yeah. So I was with Big Mike, and I kind of just I thumbed through and I saw like, and again the artwork and the cover, and plus like the Dolph Lundgren and then and the other movie with Thomas James
Jane.
and
I just rewatched that
Thomas
recently.
Jane and yeah. So I mean, great movie though.
It is good.
And you know what? I really liked Warzone too.
See, I didn't really care for Warzone.
I it's not one of my favorites, but I liked it. I liked it.
That embraced the more cartoony side of.
Well, he's
like, I'm just saying, it was more like over the top.
Yeah.
I will say a fun fact about the Thomas Jane one I just read. In the scene with Kevin Nash playing the Russian, he actually got stabbed.
Yeah, he did.
Did not know that. Did not break fucking character.
Yes, he did. It was awesome.
Did not break character. That is badass and terrifying at the same time.
But
also, the short film Dirty Laundry is amazing.
Yeah, Dirty Laundry is great.
Is
well,
amazing.
that's Thomas Jane too.
Thomas
right?
Jane, yeah.
But yeah, I ended up getting a and I don't know.
Did you get into Punisher before Deadpool?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And to be fair though, I don't read Deadpool a lot. I had my son with me at the comic book store, and he wanted to start on an issue. I said, "Well, buddy," I said, "You gotta start at a 1."
Yeah.
So as I find one that's number 1, he found Deadpool, and one of his favorite characters is Carnage. And this one that we're reading now, Deadpool actually gets injected with a symbiote, and they're trying to grow Carnage out of Deadpool. So it's actually pretty cool.
He likes Carnage?
Yeah. So it kind of.
Does he want to read Ultimate Carnage? I have that book if you'd like to read it.
It's me reading it to him at this point.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, yeah, I wouldn't mind. But yeah, so anyway, that was basically like my first. Yeah, you know, it was a Big Mike because that's when I discovered my love for indie stuff that he and I'll never forget whenever he was taking me around and we got some indie stuff and he was getting these people to sign and I'm like, "Oh, are they famous?" And he's like, "Well, no." He's like, "But you never know who the next Stan Lee's gonna be, and you'll have like their original comic with their signature." I'm like, "Well, fuck, that's like." And you know what? Another thing with that too, though, is when you go to those local guys and they have a good comic and you're kind of excited to read it, and they're excited for you to read their comic, and you ask them to sign it, dude, they love that shit. And that's when they're like, "Oh yeah, here, take this, take this, take that."
And we've talked about this before in a previous episode. That's my favorite thing about going to conventions.
Yeah.
I love seeing the cool shit that people are selling, but like I love meeting the independent writers and artists and a little bit of ASMR for audience right there.
You haven't opened yours yet.
I'm getting there.
I don't know how Yingling, America's finest and oldest brewery, is going to sponsor us if you're not drinking their beverage at 10 in the morning.
I think they'll understand.
I think they'll sponsor someone.
Yeah, well,
maybe
is that going to be a great falling out when you get the sponsor?
Oh, to be honest, I'd be happy if they send me like a hat or something. That'd be like the highlight of my life.
Oh, for sure. Or restraining order telling us to stop.
It'd be a cease and desist if anything. And I've been slapped with those before. It hasn't stopped me yet.
Well, real quick, I was actually just texting Dustin about this earlier. This is a little piece of local comic book history I just learned. I learned it like a few months ago, but I just thought of it recently. I did not know Steve Ditko, creator of Spider-Man, was from Johnstown.
I feel like I did know that.
Because there's a big mural for him there.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Yeah, big Spider-Man Steve Ditko mural, and it's like 30 minutes, 40 minutes away, and I really want to drive up and see it sometime. Me and Dustin were just talking about doing that.
The only thing I knew about Johnstown was with okay, would be that's where Slapshot was filmed.
Yeah,
But well, that they like to flood themselves
my
too.
mom met Paul Newman.
I really hope your mom kissed him on the mouth.
She said, super.
Would that have been stepped on time or?
No.
Oh, okay, no. So well, so see, it would have been no harm, no foul then at this point.
So he was very nice, very short.
That drives me up.
Very blue eyes.
So many actors are so short. No one realizes.
Would not sign anything though.
That was just
a very personal thing. And like Ewan McGregor's the same way, just because he knows like everyone's just gonna sell their shit.
That
online.
And who the hell did I just see? That was like that. Oh, it was Dave Grohl. I think someone was hassling him for like, and he was like, "Look, he's like, I'm here on a charity thing." He's like, "I'll sign anything for charity." He's like, "I'm not." I'm not.
Yeah. No,
people are being assholes, man. I'm like, Dave Grohl's such a nice guy.
People are so fucking.
Dave Grohl, tag yourself and let's be friends.
People are so entitled.
They are.
They're so entitled about that shit. Anyway, back to comics.
So
you have a stack.
Yeah.
And do you want to talk about publishers first? Because I know a couple of these are from.
So we could. All right. So we didn't actually. You didn't mention your favorite publisher. And right now, it's hard to say because you can't not put Marvel at number one.
Well,
because we'll say excluding Marvel because they're the top tier.
I like titles from every different publisher.
I'm kind of the same.
That's the thing. Like I love Dark Horse. I love Aftershock. I love Image. I love obviously Marvel. DC. I read pretty much from every different and obviously they have the independent ones that I thought Valiant was okay. I liked some of their stuff for how much hype and for Jim Shooter to be the president. I think he still is, but I liked some of their stuff, but
I was disappointed in a lot of it.
I was a little disappointed in a lot of their stuff, and they really hyped them up. And I think they have some okay characters, but
they have really good promoting.
I don't know who. I can't think off the top of my head who Garth Ennis writes under.
Well, he did a lot of Punisher.
Well, I'm saying, but like Preacher, was that Dark Horse?
I have one of the books over there.
I'll look later, but I can't remember who he writes under because he did Preacher, he did The Boys.
You know what? He did Aftershock. He did A Walk Through Hell.
Was that him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't read that one. Was it good?
It was good. I enjoyed it. It was kind of like a psychological thriller.
Yeah. He's fucked up. Did you read Crossed?
No.
Crossed is fucked up.
Well, who published that?
I don't know who published it, but that is like, even they were like, for Garth Ennis, like this is like it'll never be adapted.
Really?
Probably not. It's about this some kind of this like I don't know if it's a virus, what you call it, but these people get this cross on their forehead and it makes them act upon their most evil intuitions. So it's just full of like rape, murder, child molestation, incest. Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking it up now.
Like I don't even know if it's even good. I just know it's really fucked up.
There's a volume 1 on Amazon for $40. That must be like a long run.
Yeah.
Man, that's fucking wild.
Yeah. Dude has a crazy
reading age 16 years and up. All right.
Dude has a crazy imagination.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I feel like The Boys was just him fucking around, and it was just kind of like this thing. It was kind of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You know, they're like, oh, let's make something real ridiculous, and then all of a sudden it gets blown up.
Well, that was a parody of Frank Miller's Daredevil, and
I would assume that The Boys is a parody of Marvel, everything Marvel.
Well,
so
Justice League.
Yeah. Tomato and tomato.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I was reading about him. I guess he grew up on like a lot of the old like war comics from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
He's always hated like the idea of like the superhero. So that's why when he got the opportunity to do Punisher.
It's kind of basically what Indiana Jones was based on too. The old serial comics like that.
Like he wanted to do Punisher because he wanted a grounded character to work with.
Yeah.
And when he got the opportunity to kill all the heroes that he couldn't stand, he was like, sweet.
Yeah.
Which I'd say that was probably one of the best one shots ever written.
Which one?
The Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe.
Oh man, I love that one. That's definitely one of my favorite ones. which I don't know. I know I lent it to you, but I don't know if you read it yet. But the Punisher War Journal.
No, I'm reading.
That's a good one.
I'm probably gonna read that next. I'm reading currently World War Hulk,
Hmm.
which is fantastic.
Isn't the one with like the Gray Hulks and the
No, it's a sequel to Planet Hulk, where basically I might as well talk about this real quick. We're going to talk about what we're currently reading.
Contuval?
Then I'll let you go through your stack there. But I'm sure if any of you guys are comic book fans that are watching, I mean, Planet Hulk is essentially Black Bolt, Iron Man, Mister Fantastic, and Doctor Strange shoot Hulk up into space. He lands on a planet, and he basically he fights in like the gladiatorial arena, and he becomes king of this planet.
Was that kind of touched on in
Thor Ragnarok? Was because it introduced Korg.
It's the guy from work. That was a great line. I love that.
It introduced Korg, who was also in Thor Ragnarok, but essentially the Avengers end up blowing just nuking the planet. They kill his wife. They kill all his people. So he comes back down to Earth in World War Hulk and says, lands in Manhattan. He says, "You have 24 hours to evacuate the city because I'm going to fucking destroy everything." And also,
as well, he should
bring me Reed Richards, bring me Doctor Strange, and bring me Iron Man, because they are gonna fucking pay for what they did. Has some great fights. Has the Hulkbuster versus the Hulk.
Nice.
The Thing versus the Hulk.
Ooh.
Beats the fuck out of everybody else, and basically he turns Madison Square Garden into a gladiatorial arena and forces them all to fight each other. But great artwork by John Romita Jr., who's him and his father are comic book royalty, and it's really cool. I'm about like a little over halfway through, so once I finish that, I'll probably read the Punisher Civil War Journal, because I'm very excited to see that from his whole perspective.
So, all right, we'll save the second half of the show. We're about to hit the midway mark here for the other stuff we promised to talk about. But real quick, I'm going to run through my pickups at that I got from Infinity Comics. Another, like we were saying about our favorite publishers, this one is from Aftershock, which happens to be from one of my favorite publishers, because what they do is they usually make a series like a 4-shot, 5-shot, one of those two, where it's like, okay, we're gonna release 4 issues, we'll wrap up the story in a nice little bow. If you like it, we're gonna continue. So it's kind of nice that they give you these nice little compact stories to read, and if it's popular, then yeah, they'll keep it going. If it's not, then they can end it, and it'll just end on a nice note. So that's why I've always liked them. This one's called Midnight Rose. Again, it's just one I bought for the cover art there. I thought it looked really cool, and the premise of it seems pretty interesting.
I like the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork is really cool. That's really grabs me in most of the time. But there's that. So the other one that I ended up picking up, which this is very frustrating to me, because again, I'm a big Punisher fan, and this newest run of the Punisher,
knew this was gonna come up.
They changed his logo, and I know you gave me a reason why. You said that they did it. I don't think that's why, but it makes sense if that's what it is.
I just read it. I don't know if it was from some internet outlet, so I don't know if it's true or not.
So, well, the Onion's not very credible.
It wasn't the Onion. I do love the Onion.
So I went to the comic book store to pick up issue 10 of the series I was reading. They didn't have issue 10. What they did was they released another kind of, I don't know if this is going to be another short series. It kind of seems like a prequel to what I'm reading now, but it's very frustrating that they just didn't give me issue 10. They're like, well, no, we're going to release issue 10 when we feel like it. Here's this new thing for you to read now. But anyway, this is the Punisher War Journal base. I haven't read it yet. I didn't really even honestly thumb through it yet, so I don't know what's even about. I'm assuming it's kind of going back into. All right, so look right here. It says next.
That's weird. That's
it's
how they
very.
It's
very weird that they're like, okay, here's all this, but they did that another time too with another weird like little war journal.
Must be that writer.
I think what it is they're going, like, how like when you're watching a movie and they flash back, into something. They're like, okay, well, here's a little backstory.
So this would be like a flashback in the middle of the movie.
I'm assuming that's kind of what it is. Let me see here.
You got a couple of them.
I got 2 of them.
Are those variants, or they 1 and 2?
This is not variants. This is 1 and 4.
Oh, 1 and 4.
So anyway, let me show first. This is a Cradle of Filth. Um, it's by Opus. That's the publisher. I don't really know much what this is about, other than the artwork was fucking insane looking.
I don't know much about the comic.
I don't know
I
if it.
love
I
the
don't know if it's
I love the
tied in with the.
band.
I don't know if it's tied in with the
Yeah.
band. I assume it is,
Yeah.
or else there'd be some cease and desist orders
Probably
tossed around
like
there.
how Alice Cooper had comics and like
Yeah.
they signed off on that. Yeah, probably the same
But
deal.
the artwork is really cool. I thought it was really neat. Whenever I was at New Dimension Comics, another I don't know if they're Pittsburgh specific or if they're
I don't
kind of an
know.
all over the
That place is
place.
dangerous for you though.
It's very dangerous for me.
They got a lot of cool shit there.
It's
It's
I'm glad that they're
huge.
far enough away
It's
that I don't go
huge.
there.
Yeah, 'cause you have to drive to Pittsburgh. That's enough
Yeah.
usually this way.
Yes. But anyway, I have issues 1 and 4. I originally bought 5.
Mhm.
So I need 2 and 3 before I can start reading these. But they look actually really good. And like I mentioned earlier, my son wanted to get into reading comic books, and he picked out this Deadpool. This is issue number 4 of the series that we're reading now. But the one big thing I want to get into, which has kind of been my mainstay as of lately, I haven't had a chance to read much lately, and I'll be honest, I was trying to stretch this out because it was whenever I got into it, it was only 5 books. But it's Something is Killing the Children, and
I've heard a lot of people actually talk about this, like on like online and stuff. People have really
this was
talked.
this is Boom. This is
Yes.
Boom Comics,
Yes. Boom.
which is another one that doesn't really get the credit that they
That-
deserve. But I think
is
this
that-
kind of put them
Who else is Boom? House of Slaughter. Is that House of Slaughter?
House of Slaughter is Boom as well,
Okay.
but it's also it's tied into this.
Is that that's right? It is tied into that. Okay.
So all right, so Something is Killing the Children is a good run. Atta boy.
It's gonna take some. Just finishing off.
But House of Slaughter is the prequel to Something is Killing the Children. Um, and ironically enough, what was funny was that my son had a minimally invasive surgery, nothing major. He's fine now. But I had to take the day off work and be there at the
Mhm.
ER and everything, the children's hospital, whatever. And I was like, well, I'm gonna get caught up on my reading. So I thought to myself, yeah, here's the good time to get caught up on my reading. I didn't, because I didn't want to bring a book to the children's hospital called Something is Fucking Killing the Children. So I didn't get to get caught up on my reading.
As soon as you were saying that, I knew immediately where you were going with that.
So yeah,
You know what? That'd be hilarious. I'm sorry. That'd be fucking hilarious.
yeah, I would be.
Why am I getting all these dirty looks?
I would be.
What's wrong with people today?
Just reading up on my kid right now.
Jesus Christ.
But anyway, yeah. So House of Slaughter. So this is what drives me up a wall is that it was I knew of the 5 books of Something is Killing the Children. House of Slaughter has 2 books, and now they just released something. It was Enter the Slaughter or something like that.
Enter the House of Slaughter, I think.
Yeah. So it's another on which I'm glad they're building upon it.
Yeah.
But it's like, God damn it, let me just get fucking caught up first.
Yeah.
So it's frustrating. It's frustrating a lot of times when you get into something and you want to go all into it, but then they just keep releasing and releasing.
Yeah. When we're talking about favorite comics, one series I forgot to bring up, and I forget who actually published this. This is the first big like volume of a book I bought, which was Fables Comics.
Okay.
That is because one of my favorite games is called The Wolf Among Us, and I love anything to do with like Mother Goose rhymes, or is that it?
Like
Goose?
Grimm Fairy Tales?
Yeah, like Grimm Fairy Tales.
Okay.
That,
I don't think Mother Goose falls in it.
Well, like some of the Mother Goose rhymes, aren't they? Some of the nursery rhymes.
Just, I think you're thinking more of like Grimm's Fables.
It's like it's both. It's both tied in, but basically it's essentially set in New York City. It's like a gritty detective comic, but like the big bad wolf is the sheriff, and he's keeping tabs on the entire city. That they use this magic to basically disguise themselves from normal citizens. But it's really violent. It's really brutal. A lot of drugs, prostitution, murder.
Didn't they make a movie something similar to that? It was called Grimm.
There's a TV series
She
called
just
Grimm.
watched it not too long ago,
it's not
and
related. Not related.
yeah,
I
okay,
love Grimm.
okay.
I love the show Grimm. But no, it's definitely different. It feels like an old like 1940s noir detective
See,
movie, but
I just appreciate anything that's original anymore. Anything where
yeah.
it's unconventional, not like a superhero. We have too much of that nowadays. And
Well,
like
that's why we're the current trend right now is kind of like stuff like The Boys, stuff like Invincible,
anti-heroes
where it's
for the
like
most part.
taking the superhero genre and making the superheroes terrible human, like, well, I guess not human beings, but terrible characters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um,
That
I'm not caught up on The Boys. I need to get caught up on that show,
it's
but
great.
yeah,
But that's why I appreciate stuff like something that's going with children because it's about um basically this girl whose family and best friend gets slaughtered by this monster, and she ends up more or less killing this monster. And so she kind of gets inducted into this house of this house. And when I say house, I'm talking
hmm,
about like this like fraternity or
okay,
whatever have you, of monster killers. And so she, goes around, and now she's a part of this house of slaughter. She goes to the different towns, and the towns that are getting, the children killed and everything. They go in, they kind of do crowd control. They make sure that the news doesn't leak out that this is happening, all this other stuff, and they go and they take care of it. And it's a really interesting read. I really appreciated its originality. Um, but so anyway, let's segue into you, Dale. Let's just slide right into your the DMs of your mind and discuss about Dale Palooza, formerly Coral Palooza, formerly Carl Palooza, formerly Cleopalooza. Let's delve right into that because I feel like that is definitely one of the biggest main staples of our friendship.
that's your brainchild right there, sir. That was your well, it started with you being very disappointed in me with
Shocked and appalled
shock.
is more appropriate.
Uh, so basically, the whole the I don't know. Should I tell her? Do you want, since it was your brainchild? Would you like to
And we can just add
discuss?
on here and there as we go. But how it came about was that since
Well, I like to think we were friends about before that, but
well, yeah,
yeah,
but essentially working side by side for
yeah.
years,
I was just talking about
just talking
yeah.
about general things about like like, oh yeah, this, oh, I've never done that. Oh, I've never done that. I've never done. And I'm like, dude, that's literally like just a part of being a person at this point in life. Uh I this is where I failed to prepare. I forgot to grab the list, but
Oh, there is an official list.
there is an official list, but I will, if I can thumb back through to find the photos from the original
Oh
Clayapalooza,
God, the original Clayapalooza.
I can
We've only had like two or three. We haven't had that many because
we
because
had two, and
COVID
then
really derailed us because we could nothing was open the following year to really do.
COVID happened, and then you moved,
Yeah.
and then came back, which brings me to my next point. Ohio can go fuck itself. Everyone's
Oh,
like, "Oh, why does all
Ohio.
this terrible stuff happen to Ohio?" I don't know, maybe because God hates it too. Fuck Ohio, piece of shit. Hey, you know what? Studies from Ohio. That's
Yes,
not the
yes, he is.
the best representation there.
I didn't say anything.
But
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
as I'm scrolling, go ahead and kind of
Well,
just
essentially, yeah, it was basically Josh discovering that I lived a very sheltered life growing up. Didn't really go out and do a whole lot of things that most human beings do or whatnot while going through adolescence and into adulthood. Um, just silly stuff. And some stuff that he puts on the list that will never be done because I don't feel like going to jail during Playapalooza.
what are you talking about? Name one thing on the list that would end you in jail.
Pretty sure, didn't you have me like get into a bar fight or something?
No, no, getting kicked out of a
Getting
bar.
kicked out of a bar. Ah, you started rattling off. You started going off the rails. You started listening to some really crazy stuff.
No.
I think you did. But it was a good time. We just essentially just would get a group of us together, go out, have a good time. Ben fell asleep by the pool, which is still my favorite memory of.
He ate a lot of catfish. You can't
And he
blame the
was like
guy.
out of commission for the night. Like we went like two or three other places, and he was just like dead after that.
Okay, so all right. So actually, it's funny because I have pictures of the first one and of the second one. So, one of the very first things that this was just you and I that did this
What's
before
that?
we started was we went and he said he's never experienced Popeye's chicken. So we went and we had ourselves some Popeye's chicken. Um, and then after that, another shocking thing that you've never done was learn how to ride a bike. So
Well, you know what the first thing was? The very first thing? Drive a truck. You let me take your truck around the.
that's true. So he did get to drive a truck. I didn't get a photo evidence of that, but here's the attempt on a bike, which you mostly got it. And then
I
the
had
other
it for like a
thing
solid 10 seconds.
was he's never rode a skateboard before,
That
which
still
the
didn't.
boots don't really help.
No,
The boots are not good for
still
skateboarding.
didn't happen. The old building was perfect for that.
Now the other thing that I'm trying to keep certain people out of this one. There we go. There's one
Oh
of
yeah,
just
yeah.
you. Um, you said that you've never rode a horse, which shocked me because I mean, if an adult tells me, "Well, I've never rode a horse," but even as a child, it said I've never rode a pony or anything like that. Shocking,
Well, plus I grew up on a farm.
but also shocking.
We just never had a
It
horse.
doesn't matter.
Okay.
But anyway, here's Dale on a horse, and then later he milked that same horse. Um,
Took a lot of work.
the other thing that he didn't do was have a steak from Texas Roadhouse.
That
So
would really upset you.
it did. So
Hey, there's
there's him.
Derek with his ponytail.
So and then here is also one of our subscribers and good friends, Derek, when he had his fucking ponytail and he looked like a homeless pirate, and I fucking hated it.
That's a great picture.
Derek, if you ever put your fucking hair that way again, I will murder you.
That's a great picture.
So you also never learned how to swim, which I still feel like you don't know how to, but I feel like if I threw you in the ocean, you might survive a little bit longer. But here's Dale learning to swim. Oh, there's old Johnny Whitesnake on a horse there. And then so here's actually what's funny too. This wasn't part of Dale-a-Palooza, but this was me getting kicked out of a bar.
Oh yeah.
So I got kicked. Long story short, there was a country bar that
I'll let you tell the story, but what your brother did still makes me laugh more than anything.
my my brother and I we don't like country music.
No.
And we were at a country bar after a Pirates game, which I don't like the Pirates. I don't like baseball. But anyway, we were forced to go to that. We were forced to, go to this country bar. And my brother was getting married at the time. And I said, "Hey," I said, "if I get us kicked out of this stupid fucking bar, can I be your best man?" I knew it was gonna be best man either way, but I was feeling rowdy.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Yeah, sure." So they had a band playing, some country band, and I was the first thing I did was I said, "Okay," I said, "get ready. I'm gonna get us kicked out." And I punched him in the side of the head. But the bouncer wasn't looking at me. So I'm like, okay, that failed. I don't even know if he remembers that. But
You were both pretty drunk from what
typically, yeah, when we're
Yeah.
together. So then I was like, fuck it. So I go around to the stage, and
Was this Tequila Cowboy?
this was Tequila Cowboy.
I've still never been there.
And so I popped off my shirt and I hopped up on stage and I just started walking around on stage like, yeah, yeah. And I'm slapping hands with people down in the crowd and stuff. And literally the band's just looking at each other and no one's giving a fuck I'm up there. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So then finally some bouncer comes up and grabs me from behind and starts pulling me off the stage. And this was footage of me being pulled off the stage. And there's me and my brother drunk as shit. But yeah, so we ended up getting kicked out. And if you look though, even the bouncer's fucking laughing in the background. But as I'm leaving, they're shuffling me through the crowd and whatnot, and my sister and brother-in-law and my cousins and whatnot are all just like, "Oh my god, you're getting kicked out." So like, they're all leaving and whatnot, and I'm just like kind of like getting pushed through, and so I'm at the door,
Were
and
you getting cheered on as you were getting kicked out?
I really don't think anyone else fucking knew what was going
Oh,
on.
okay.
But so as I'm leaving, they open the door, and I'm walking out the door, and I'm pulling my shirt down over my face, and as soon as my shirt comes down, I see two Pittsburgh police officers standing there. I'm like, "Oh," I was like, "Tough crowd in there, huh?" And just kind of smiled and walked away. And they didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? I wasn't causing mischief. I was
Yeah.
just being ornery.
I think the funniest part of that story is your brother telling me that he was like at first going for the bass player and just being like,
Oh,
like,
he
"Oh,
was.
play."
He was just doing the middle fingers to
I
the
was,
bass.
I was like, "What do you want me to fucking do?"
Yeah, he was just like,
See, I could never do something like that. I just couldn't.
You have to let the you know what helps out doing that stuff a lot? Yingling, America's finest and oldest brewery. It helps you. It helps you become fun.
The beer to get kicked out to.
It is. It really is. And I hope, man, I feel like I did. I closed out the photos, but the other shocking things were a pinata. You never had a pinata,
Never had a pinata.
so we got you a pinata.
Did.
You never been to a strip club before. We took you to a strip club, which was a hilarious experience in itself. Um, so here's Johnny Whitesnake's tips to having a good time at a strip club. Now, I feel like at this point in your life, when you're able to go to a strip club, a naked woman
There's
shouldn't
nothing
be
mesmerizing about it. There's nothing mesmerizing
a
about
naked
it.
woman
Yeah.
shouldn't be so
It's
awe-inspiring.
it's at a certain point you just start laughing at porn because of how like
Well,
ridiculous it is and like how hilarious it is.
so Johnny Whitesnake's tips to strip club fun is, first and foremost, be respectful.
Oh yeah,
Um,
obviously.
Essentially, think of them as your waitress or a bartender.
Yeah.
Treat them with the same respect. They're there to give you service. Just mind your p's and q's. But on top of that, um, what you need to remember is that the entertainment sometimes may not just be on the stage. Now we have some people coming in, but it's also off the stage. So what you can do is even more entertaining than the women themselves is to watch the men watching the women.
There was some
People watching at a strip
it
club
was a good
is the
time.
greatest thing ever.
There are people that think you they were watching Christ perform miracles in front of them. Just like how
There's that there's the lonely guys that are like, this is the best. This is the best. There's the creepers that are like, I can get this girl to come home with me.
oh my god, she really likes me.
Yeah, the guys that fall in love. It's incredible the entertainment you get. Um, and then here's the number one Johnny Whitesnake pro tip for when you go to a strip club. Always, and I repeat, always get yourself a lap dance. But when they take you back to the private room, say, listen, sit beside me. Don't grind on me. You can keep your clothes on. Put on a fucking parka. I don't care. I want to hear your best strip club story from the stripper.
Mm-hmm.
And you will hear the wildest shit you've ever heard in your entire life.
Oh, for sure.
When we went for Coral De La Palooza, I did that exact same thing. And the girl told me that there was an older gentleman in his 80s who would come in and pay the girls to put a toothbrush in his ass. So best $20 I ever spent.
As one does.
And she didn't need to grind on my lap for
Is that
entertainment.
how you
She
brush your
didn't.
teeth?
Well, yeah, naturally. How else am I
Okay,
going to hold a toothbrush?
Fair enough.
But that was entertainment to me. That was I mean, because you could literally just right now Google boobs, you'll find them.
Oh yeah.
So that, I mean, that, none of that's really, all that interesting. But to hear that kind of story, incredible, worth every penny. So what else?
Those are the big ones. Went to axe throwing.
Excellent, it was fun.
Axe throwing was fun. Went to Texas Roadhouse second time. Kept the tradition.
Yeah.
Which I feel like this year, if we go do anything, it should be a little bit. I don't know. We talked about going to the city, but none of us really like going into Pittsburgh.
No.
Unless we have to. And I love Pittsburgh. I just hate. There's cool. I love stuff to do in Pittsburgh. It's just I hate driving
I
to
love
anything in Pittsburgh.
I love the history of the city.
Yeah.
I love the sporting events, mostly the Penguins. Not as of recently.
I need to. I was talking to Jason about that, and he just said there's like no
It's
chemistry or anything between
no,
them.
there's no chemistry in the team.
Did you see they waived Kapanen?
Kaepernick, yeah, he's on waivers now, which is it's a shame because he's very talented. I just don't think I don't think they're using him to his full potential. You know what? It reminds me of a guy years ago, Chris Kunitz. He was a fourth line curtain jerker. He wasn't. He wasn't. He was a no name on every team he was on, and then when he came to the Penguins, fucking, he was the man. He was the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it just kind of depends on who you're with and your play style. But yeah, so
But anyway,
I don't know. I don't know what else we said we would touch base on, but I don't.
That's pretty much it's the fun. But do you want to tell me why I went from Claypalooza to Carlpalooza to this is just my fucking luck.
So when we were at Texas Roadhouse, they used to do the thing where they would put the cowboy hat on you, you'd sit on the fucking horse and whatnot.
Oh, if that would
Which
have
they
happened, I would
didn't
have
do that. I
left.
was upsetting.
I'm very happy they didn't do that.
But
I would have
I
left.
told the girl, I said, hey,
I hate since I was a kid. I hate. I don't know. Maybe I'm autistic or something. I don't know. I hate when people sing "Happy Birthday" to me. It for some reason it just drives me up a wall. It infuriates me.
happy
Well, not it's
birthday
not going to bother me
to
now.
you.
It's not going to bother me now.
Happy birthday. Anyway, so I told the one waitress, I said,
Oh, come on, Aaron, stay out of this. I'm not there yet. I'm not even in my 30s yet.
I'm closer to that.
Don't rush me to that shit, man.
But anyway, I told the waitress, I said, hey, it's my buddy's birthday. I said, we're having not so much of a birthday as we are having a celebration. We call it Clayapalooza. And she goes, okay, we'll have to sing that when we come around to the table. So they all came around the table and they sang Happy Carlpalooza. So it became Carlapalooza. And then from Carlapalooza, it was, what was it, a Walking Dead thing?
No, Ben looked it up and no, Ben called it Coralpalooza. Then he looked up and so there was a Coralpalooza. It was like a beach thing. So he started calling it Coralpalooza. And yeah, it's gone through.
And now it's Dalepalooza.
It's had a whole story arc, and it's had a whole arc. It's a good time.
So next, Dale, Coral, Carl, Clayapalooza. When we go live during that, we'll be able to see you get kicked out of a bar live, and that'll be exciting. You also have to get punched in the face, spit rhymes.
Yeah, well, I don't understand why I don't. This is all stuff like I wish I would have done like before. Now it's like I don't want to go get punched in the face on my birthday.
Eh.
Is that a weird thing? I don't know. Is it weird to not want to get punched in the face on your birthday? Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's time.
It's time.
But
all right. Well, I figure it's getting pretty close, so we want to get set up for.
We'll wrap it up here. Yeah. Well, we can talk about what we're doing today, actually, and while we're doing a fucking early morning podcast.
First ever Magic the Gathering draft.
We don't know how it's gonna go.
Our buddy Rob's been playing for a long time. I've collected the cards for a long time, but I never really learned how to play. So Johnny and myself have in the past, like I'd say a couple months now, kind of started dipping our toes into the world.
I went real hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
As I do. If there's one thing you all should know about Johnny Whitesnake by now is that I get very competitive. I am. I can't help myself. Which is it's tragic for me because I'm not very good at anything.
Oh, don't make yourself a victim here.
I am a victim.
I come in, he's got a whole table full of cards, and he's just like what am I doing? Like I'm so wrong. Like you did this to yourself. You did this to yourself. I feel no pity for you whatsoever.
It's tough because I am very competitive with a lot of things, and I'm also very not good at things. So
which is dangerous when
it's a tragic life.
Which is dangerous that when you, Derek, and Kyle all play together because you all are all very competitive.
Oh yeah, Kyle actually last night was actually saying like, I thought this playing Magic was a flash in the pan. I thought it was gonna be over with, but I can see you're sticking with it. He's like, I might have to get into it, and that's gonna be very, very fucking tragic if the old skister there fucking gets into it because him and I love to knock each other down a peg, and we're both very, very competitive. So if he can do anything to gain an edge on me, he will. So it's a dangerous thing that we're starting up here.
Kyle's brutal.
Kyle is very brutal.
He's brutally honest when you're playing.
I feel like he was extremely underutilized when he was in the military. I feel like he should have been one of those frontline guys because he would have been like oh wow, he just took out our sniper nest, just run out and just blow up a whole fucking country just out of spite.
Make a good drill sergeant.
I don't know if he'd make a good drill sergeant. He's not
loud, but
he's not loud, but he's emotionally hurtful.
That's what I mean.
But
that's what I mean. Very emotionally.
He has a good way of making you feel disappointed in yourself for disappointing him. Which I love that. I love it. I love that he brings that out of people.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what we're doing today. They should start arriving here probably the next like 10-15 minutes, I'd say. So get everything ready.
Yep.
get wrapped up and do the next one whenever the fuck we find time, and whenever Josh can make me do it, because we all know that I'm the what?
Johnny.
Whenever Johnny can make me summon me to appear again.
So yeah, topics and discussions for our next podcast would be much appreciated. You guys don't have to just comment on the live. If you're watching this
No,
post live, please comment
the
things you
people-
want us to talk about.
all the people that watch this we know. So
Yeah. Our requests mainly come from people just coming up to us, hey, talk about this. You should talk about that.
and then you're just like, nope, I'm just gonna talk about eating ass.
Yes, because that's my favorite thing.
Fair enough.
So anyway, yeah, play
Play
us
this
off. But also, do share us, subscribe, all that shit that people say when they do these things. Yingling, feel free to reach out to us. We're not hard to find.
Tell us either sponsor us or tell us to fuck off. Either way will be a great.
Either way, just hearing from them.
Yeah.
Young Gravy, again, you can go fuck yourself. You're a piece of shit. And I don't know. I ran out of stuff.
Play us off again. Later.